2 or 3, whatever it is, for sure.
Okay.
Any correspondence?
No.
Need to approve the agenda.
Make a motion that we approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Oh wait, do we only have 3 people here?
Stephanie's on.
Stephanie, can Stephanie hear us?
I can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh,
really
yes.
good.
Yes.
I'm gonna aim this way a little bit, so I'm not deafened.
There you go.
And you hear us all right, Stephanie?
I can, thanks, Jim, yep.
All right, good.
Okay, so Stephanie's
We ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
We just did.
I think I made a motion to approve the agenda.
In a second?
Second.
John seconded, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Approve the minutes for the 5/19/2020 regular meeting. John, need a second?
I'll move we approve, or second,
Stephanie
whatever you
second.
need.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Reports, board reports. Since you're the first in line, Stephanie, you got anything going on?
No, nope, nothing. All good.
Oh, good.
The only thing I have to say is at the north end of Lakeview, let's get those darn kids back in school.
Amen.
I'm going to North Dakota with a side trip to Minneapolis. So.
Don't go through the Sioux Reservation. I got turned around there. They wouldn't let
Oh,
me
you
cross.
did? I'm just flying right into Dickinson. So
Yeah.
my son has a meeting, I'm gonna go with him.
Our last school board meeting, Jack pointed out that with the current regulations, which are the first of the first of the first, we shouldn't have any problems opening Adel and Plush schools, just because we have the floor space for the few students
Oh,
we have.
great.
So we're looking really forward
Boy.
to that. There's some social distancing stuff and all that you gotta worry about. Choices to be made, but we get to have open the school on in September.
That's excellent.
Okay, financial report.
It's pretty simple. It's what you got in front of you. I just mentioned that we are looking to end the year pretty healthy.
Wow, good job.
Yeah, and which is good going into next year with the uncertainty mixed in there.
Yes.
We with the fourth quarter of the school year being what it was, we did underspend from what we had anticipated. Just professional development, supplies, mileage, all the stuff that goes with that.
Yeah.
So we will be carrying over the 90% requirement into next year. But I think that will be a good thing.
Will we have to then make an adjustment for the 90-10, so forth?
For as far as the budget resolution goes, or
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see because the budget is based on full funding from the state. So if the state cuts our funding, we may be able to provide stable services and use that
I see.
as towards the 90%,
Okay.
you know.
Okay, good.
And I guess it depends on how severe the state funding situation is.
I don't anticipate any good news.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So we didn't use all our 90% of our budget for students.
So we
This
did
year.
use the current year's budget, 90%,
Oh, we did.
but because we had I wanna say it was 27,000 that we carried over
Oh, okay, so
from the
we're,
prior year. Cause we got that debt forgiveness in June of the previous year.
yeah,
It was too late to spend it on the schools. I didn't know that we were gonna get it until June is when they told me.
Yeah.
So we're carrying over about $20,000 of the 90%. So we did spend the current year 90% amount, but we were not able to make up for the prior.
They probably cut school districts some slack, won't they? Under the circumstances.
We're hoping,
Yeah.
we're hoping, depending on what the special session,
Mhm.
what the legislature does, that's where they can target cuts and funding priorities, so,
Right.
yeah.
all right, any other questions about the financial? We'll move on to the superintendent's report. It's all you, Jack.
All right, well, good evening, everybody. So let me get to mine on my screen here.
How's your daughter?
Good. She She had 3 wisdom teeth taken out yesterday, and she kind of looks like a chipmunk, but actually not too bad. She's been doing pretty good with the ice and stuff, so she's been able to keep her swelling and stuff down, so that's good. But she's pretty peaked. She slept. My wife and my daughter went and looked at a wedding venue today, and so I stayed home with my daughter, and she slept probably about half the day at least, so which was good.
It's good.
Very good.
Yeah. So looking as far as the funding and stuff, as Sarah mentioned it a little bit, we have no idea. David Kerr coined the phrase, we're adopting a clown budget, because there's no way to tell what in the world's going to be happening with this thing. We'll go ahead and adopt our budget the way it is and stuff, and then we'll have to deal with it once things get, given to us by the state and they start to make decisions. We've got the federal government may be giving us some money. There may be money coming out of rainy day fund. They may be taking money out of the Student Success Act monies. At this point, we just don't know. So there'll be more to come on that, and as things change, we'll keep you informed. So the latest thing, and you will find it, I think, in your packet. You will find the re-entry guidelines. Does everybody have that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Second time I've done that.
So that is a 45-page document of all the different things that we have to do as school districts in order to be able to get our kids back in school. We had one meeting yesterday. It was a 3-hour meeting, and I got nothing out of it other than lots of more questions from the state, and they don't have any answers at this point. If you notice on the front cover of that, it has 1.0.0. One is it's a major. If there's a major revision, they'll go to change that to like a number 2. The second or the first 0 is if there's a revision. It's not major, but if it's a revision in some fashion, then that number will change. And then the third number is just for incidentals like, there's some spelling errors or something like that. They've made corrections that way. They'll change that number over. But it is really going to be interesting because I was listening to some of the superintendents yesterday. There is everything from people are looking at doing a 50-50 split with their schools, where kids will go to school, say, Monday and Wednesday, and another group will come in Tuesday and Thursday, and they'll send home a bunch of paperwork and homework for them on their off days, and that's the way they're going to be able to do it. That is going to be a real common theme this coming next year. So it's going to be a kind of a rarity for like Adel and Plush to be the school that's all the way in session, and all the kids are coming to school and all that kind of stuff. Because with as few kids as we have right now, one of the main things is the square footage per child, and we shouldn't have any problem dealing with that. Where we may end up with issues if Lakeview people find out that Plush and Adel are going to school full-time every day, and we all of a sudden get a bunch of homeless people because they're living in their travel trailers, pulling up in the middle of the desert out there saying, nope, we're going to live here, we're going to send our kids to your school. It could be quite interesting. So hopefully that doesn't happen, and we'll be able to just move on and do what we need to do out there. But Lakeview is going to have some real challenges. I look forward to talking with Michael Carter, new superintendent, and helping him with what's going on there and see what we can do. I've had quite a few conversations already with Gail up in North Lake, and that's exactly what she's looking at, is a 2-day on, 2-day off kind of a thing, and having stuff sent home in between time. So we'll see what that's going to look like. Some of the other issues or questions that have not been answered is in the executive session, or in the executive order of the governor, she makes a statement in there that we cannot require staff to be at school or put themselves in danger if they are of an age or of a health quality that they're compromised. And I think right now the age is 60. And so the question that school districts are having is, okay, I have say a 63-year-old teacher who says, no, I'm not gonna put my life at risk, but I don't wanna lose my job, so I want my job still. Is the state going to pay us to pay that person to stay home and also have to pay to have a substitute in the district? And so that's gonna be a big question, and that's supposed to come out. The governor's going to have another executive order coming out later on this month, and I wouldn't use the word anxious. I'm curious to see what it says. I'm more scared probably than I am anxious. So anyway, so that's kind of what's going on there. The North Lake, Lakeview, and Paisley graduations, they all happened, and they were very unconventional. And I think I have not heard from anybody, any stories or anything of anybody being displeased with the graduations. All three districts did something different, and they all seem to be very happy with what they got. So that's really good. Lastly on my list is update about the fiber optics project. They said, we just got a email last week from Keith. He says that Stantec is working on the archaeological on the 44 sites that have been identified on the Hogback Road. So I'm not quite sure what that means, but they're working on them. They are still complaining that they're running into rock at about 18 inches down, and that they're having a tough time planning their posts. Because the posts have to be in the ground 5.5 feet, so they're saying that they're not moving real fast when trying to dig those holes. They're having a difficult time getting the actual fiber optics. There's kind of a shortage on that. They said they still are able to get it, but it's just taking them longer than normally would. On Highway 140, he said that they have 2 crews scheduled to start in about 1 or 2 weeks. So that'd be in next week or the week after. And it says looking to see if it's possible to add 1 or 2 more crews, dependent on the materials and the drilling. So he's gonna be, so it sounds like once they get 140, they get going on that, they'll probably move that pretty quick. So, and he states that the expected completion date is, as of right now, still October 1st. So we'll see. And that's what I know at this point.
All right, any questions for Jack?
Let's
Thank you, Jack.
have that break.
And please take that that document for the reopening of schools and read it, share it, please, with the public, because the public needs to know what the schools are going to be up against and trying to be able to get things done. The plans have to be done and turned in by August 15th. So we'll be coming to you, or actually, excuse me, the school district boards will be coming to them with our plans prior or in their early board meetings in August with a potential plan. But it's going to be interesting to see. But people in the community need to know what schools are up against, so they're not blaming and pointing fingers at the schools for doing what they're doing. So.
Yeah. And you said school boards, Jack, you mean all the school boards like North Lake, Paisley, and Lakeview
Correct.
along with, okay.
Yeah. Each school board will have to approve the plan that the districts develop. So Plush and Adel, I think I'm just going to do a consortium because they're almost identical as far as what they're going to be doing.
I guess
So
what I'm
we'll
getting,
do a consortium, do one plan for them.
what I was getting at, the ESD is gonna be part of helping them put their deal together, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sorry, gee whiz, I should have mentioned that, thank you. So what we've done is Elena Bradbury, she is going to be they actually gave her a title. She's gonna be assisting the districts in writing their plan, just like she did with the Student Success Act. And she's gonna be helping them out and getting those things written, and being an expert in that area also. So thankfully, we have her, and we're able to use those Student Success Act funds to be able to have her do that. So we're not using our general funds for that.
Okay, that's good.
And also a
Good show.
huge kudos to Elena. We got back I think it was last Friday, we got a letter from ODE that said Lakeview's Student Success Act grant application was approved with no revisions, no alterations or anything else. So kudos to Elena, she helped with that,
Wow,
and so that's a fantastic job for them.
Yeah,
wow,
that's great news.
yes.
All right, well, thank you, Jack. Now, information and discussion items, 2021 budget meeting calendar, second reading. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary in that.
Pretty much like this year.
Yeah. Okay, we don't need to do anything, that's the only action items. Anybody have any questions on that or anything they'd like to add? Okay. And
I'm good.
go ahead, Stephanie.
No, I said I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
No question.
July 1st, 2020 organization meeting, reminder for quorum. I know I'll be here.
I'll be
I'll be here. I won't be here.
You'll be vacationing.
Well, in North Dakota, that's right.
You can call in.
Remember, guys, be careful, if you don't cover, you don't zoom in, you might be chair next to you.
Yes. That could happen.
Jeez, that would,
Uh,
or a person could resign.
No, you can't.
Okay, now this is a public meeting, let's keep the language appropriate, okay? None of that kind of talk.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll be two of us. Stephanie, can you make it on July 1st?
Yes, I'll either be, one way or the other, I'll be around
Okay,
on
good.
the 1st, yep.
So we just need to get one more person. Well, I think we got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should be good to
Would have
go.
been on time if it wasn't for the red light in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
Really? Yeah. Okay, 2021 annual contracts update. So,
Jack, do you want me to talk about the contracts or do you wanna take that one?
Well, yeah, we can, share on that one. Why don't you go ahead and take the resolution?
Okay. The GASB resolution is that first page, it's, required by the federal, accounting standards. It's, pretty generic, we pass it every year. We just say that the balances in the funds that we have designated can only be used for the thing that that fund is designated for.
It rolls over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then there's some other procedural language in this, but it's pretty standard.
I do have a question, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
The last sentence on that page. When unrestricted classifications of fund balance are spent,
Mm-hmm.
the board will consider that committed amounts will be reduced first,
Mm-hmm.
followed by assigned amounts, and then unassigned amounts. I got lost.
Yeah, and that's the federal part of the regulation, but what they do is they've got categories of funds. So you've got restricted funds,
Uh-huh,
and that's like our federal grants. We can only use IDEA funds on special education, they're restricted, right? And then the board has the ability to assign funds and say, we're gonna earmark this money for this purpose. And it's not required to be used this way by the funding source, but the board can say, we've assigned it to this
Okay.
use. Or you can commit it to this use, and I think committing it is a step higher than assigning it. I'm not sure how they're different. maybe the board commits it and administration, Jack and I can assign it. Maybe that's the,
Do we do that?
no, well, this is the resolution where you guys commit under the section B commitments. This is where you guys are saying that you're committing those fund balances for the uses. So when we have an expense that, let's say we have a special education expense, and we just use whatever money, what we're saying is that we use the most restricted funding source first, because it leaves the more flexible money that can be used later. And so that sentence that you cited just says, if there are commitments, if the board has made commitments for money,
That's what it
that
is.
this would qualify for, we're gonna reduce the commitment first.
Okay,
And then we're gonna reduce the assignments after that. And then after that, it'll be the unassigned money that we just have, yeah.
yeah, I got lost.
It's a resolution that's, I'm sure something happened somewhere that made the requirement necessary, but it's not for districts our size.
Well, I think that's all of our school board policies too.
Yeah,
Something
in many of them.
Yes.
Yeah,
All right, and the Tech Solutions contract.
Okay, so that's our contract for the, technology services that we get from Josh.
And we're all happy with those people still, and
Josh is great.
Good.
Josh is really good. And the amount, the annual amount for the contract is unchanged from the current year.
okay.
Wow, that's nice.
Okay, and A.L. Kirk and principal contracts.
So this is the contract for me, to provide principal services to the Adel School District. And so it's, pretty much exactly the same as it was last year.
And A.L. approved them last week, so
Yep, so I haven't upset too many of their board members, that's good.
not that we can't live around.
It was a close vote, but you know.
Okay. North Lake Fiscal Service contract.
Okay, this is the one for, that Chandra is now their, the clerk for Adel. And this contract we changed up a little bit in that we had specific people, on this one. And what we did was, rather than have individual people's names, we put in there, the fiscal services personnel kind of thing. So that in case we lose or, you know, somebody retires or does something, we're not having to go back and redo the contracts. So other than that, it's, very, very similar.
Okay. Then we go to board policies, first reading.
And we got, well, we missed the North Lake one.
Oh, no, I thought we did. Oh, anyway, the North Lake Fiscal Service contract.
Sarah, you wanna talk about that one? I don't think, nothing's changed, has it?
Nope, the responsibilities remain the same, services remain the same. Seems to be working out pretty well.
Good deal. Okay, now board policies, first reading. Use of restraints.
So the J-Jab, the one we currently have was a lot different than this new one that they sent out, so I wanted to show you both of them, and you can go from there. There's just no way to mesh it into one with all those changes.
I guess when I saw that these were all required, I didn't really. Do we have some choices of language? Or are we required to?
Yeah, no, these are what you have.
Was there something wrong with the current policy? Do you know?
One thing that's interesting in this restraint and seclusion one, if you notice, on number 7, on the, what is it, on page 3, it says prone restraint means a restraint in which a student is held face down on the floor. So the police can do that to you, but we can't do that to kids at school. So I wonder if there's a reason for that. Oh, wait a minute, that's it. People die. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
boy.
Pinning up to the wall seems to work. I mean,
Yeah.
Do we want to keep our current policy or do the new one?
Can we keep?
That's an option, right, Jack?
Is there a recommendation from OSBA? Do they recommend the new?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this new one
the
is.
new one is recommended because there's been some changes as far as what you can and cannot do. And we use PACE, which is our insurance company. We use them to teach the restraint training, which is, it's called the Crisis Prevention Institute Nonviolent Crisis Intervention Training. And we use that, and we require all of our staff that are going to be working with kids to go through that. So, we're covered. We've had, our staff have all had the correct training. We have OSBA's policy, and we use PACE as our trainer. So we've done everything we possibly can to avoid liability.
So we're probably better go with the new one that the state's recommending it now. Is that what you're thinking, Jack?
That would be my recommendation, yes.
Any other questions on that? Okay, expulsions.
So the model policy is your suggestion
Yes.
over the current policy, okay.
And they're both required. Is there any changes in the model one?
I don't think we have a current policy for the JGE. So this
On
would be
the
completely
restraint, you're saying?
expulsion.
Expulsion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
On
we're on the-
expulsion now? Okay.
Look right there. Yeah, this one is interesting because the expulsion thing is, it's required, but yet we don't have any children. So we would never expel anyone because we don't have any kids. But I guess there was a potential if we opened up some type of a school, alternative school or something, we would need this, so. I
On
didn't
that-
see anything in it that needed to be adjusted.
On that, Jack, could we refuse to deal with a child that's totally unruly or people can't work with him?
I don't believe we can.
Okay,
They would have to go through the school district's regular discipline process.
yeah,
Yeah, but I don't think, it'd be no different than a regular teacher saying, sorry, I don't want this kid in my classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't do that.
okay.
Jack, on the, 3 things, first 3 numbered items on, how or why a student may be expelled. Can reasons for expulsion just be written into board policy if they're not necessarily on this list? For example, I know that one school district, it was a number of years ago, tried to expel a student for having marijuana. It doesn't seem like that would be covered now especially, but something similar, say they were caught with meth or something.
And that would fall under number 1.
yeah.
That would pose a threat to their health.
Okay,
Be the same as bringing mommy's pills in from the cabinet.
yeah, that could do it.
Yeah, a threat to health is a pretty broad statement.
Okay,
I could fit a lot of stuff under that statement.
Okay. The reporting of abuse of a child. It says suspected abuse on the policy, so.
And OSBA is suggesting.
On the last page, actually, I think there's a couple of places where this was at, but I don't see the other ones. Second to the last paragraph, where it says texting or electronically communicating with a student through contact information gained as a contractor, agent, or volunteer of the USDA, the ESD is, I just put discouraged. And the reason I did that is because there actually are times, like for example, our mentor program, where they do text kids and the mentors and those kinds of things. So it's not something we like to have people doing, but there are situations where it's not something that I would prohibit. Especially this day and age when sometimes that's the only way people will, respond.
Yeah, that was a concern at Lakeview when the coaches text the kids about practice or changes, and it seems like there was a service that they could use, and I don't remember if it offered monitoring or if it, but it kept it from being directly from the employee to the student.
Right, that's school messenger, and so
Okay.
any school district or any employee or whatever, all the districts, we pay for that as an ESD, and all the districts have it. And so if a coach wanted to message all of their players, they would go in and talk to one of the secretaries in the front office there, and they would be able to create the message and put the kids' names in that they want in there, and then it would go out from the school rather than going out from the individual.
Okay. So we have that available to our employees as well.
Our employees could go to the secretaries and ask for that something to be sent out to them, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have school messenger because we don't have access to the rosters, name lists, addresses, phone numbers, those kinds of things that the districts do.
Right. I'm just thinking about the mentor program. If they could use that.
They could use that, yes.
Okay.
Okay, good. Okay, anything else on the reporting of suspected child abuse?
I guess my only other thought for both of this one and the next one, so is this just beefing up the mandatory reporter?
Yep.
Okay.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. On the AR, you'll notice also that I changed because we don't have another licensed administrator. So I just said anything that was allegations against me would go directly to the board chair. And so there's no other place that it would go. So,
And we've had that for quite a while, haven't we? I mean, we've talked about it.
yeah.
we talked about it.
When they give you a new policy, they give you, those options again, so.
All right, any other questions on that? We'll move on to reporting requirements for suspected sexual conduct with students.
Very similar to the last one, it's just, it's gotta be reported, not just to the state, but also to me, or the board chair.
When they say contractor, Jack, how far down, if we have someone contracted to do the floors, where this falls in there, and on that?
It would, yeah, I mean, a contractor would be, I think more of a contractor in the school setting would be, say maybe a individual comes in to do a school assembly, and they asked for some kids to assist at the assembly, and they did something to one of the children.
Yeah.
As far as an ESD or us, we don't have any children in the building that, anybody that's doing any painting or any contracting work or anything like that would actually have access to.
All right. Any further questions on that, guys? Moving on to Update on ESD goals for 2021.
Okay, so this is the goals then for next year. The first goal, I think, for an ESD, we have 2 brand new superintendents in the county. And I think that it is gonna be essential that we provide, as much support for them as we possibly can. I've already been in contact with Gail a few times, having conversations with her. Not that David's not there, I just think she's trying to begin stretching her legs a little bit and trying to, start for her authority for next year. So I think that's gonna be something that's gonna be really important for us. Goal number 2, due to some of the conversations around my evaluation, I wanted to make that a focus for me for next year, is providing leadership and support in the area of special education, so that I can make sure that I focus on that, cover that for you folks, and make sure that you're aware of all the things we're doing there. And then number 3 is a continuation, half continuation and half new, is that provide the leadership in meeting the requirements for the Student Success Act. We still have 2 districts that have not created their Student Success Act plans. So that needs to happen for this next year, and also all 5 districts now have to create their startup plans. And so that's gonna be a huge lift to have happen for next year, so, yeah, so that's where I'm at there. Goal number 3. Happy to take any thoughts or comments or input or anything else.
I think we'll probably have goals by the end of this year that we never knew we were gonna have.
Well, the startup plan goal is, I just wrote that in about it. Well, I think the day that your packets were being mailed out, I changed that goal and added that to it, so, yeah.
Yeah, I think that might fill up a lot of your time.
I'm a little bit worrisome about that,
Yeah,
Okay.
I think they're
Go ahead.
well thought out goals. I appreciate the detail.
Yes. Okay, moving on to the ODE Public Health and School Reentry Tool.
So again, I touched on this in my report. This also gives you that nice colored little thing that says, these are the things you have to do in order to be able to get back into your building. And so that's just kind of a little diagram that the state provided for us. And then you've got the 45-page document that, don't try to read it all in one sitting.
I wonder which will be most helpful, the 1 page or the 45 pages.
Yeah, the 1 page, you don't have time to read it, at least read the 1 pager.
Kind of gives you an idea of how
Yeah, it
it's gonna
does.
be like.
This thing is, it really, if you think about what school has been in the past and what it looked like, and if you tried to do that for next year, if you're any kind of a school bigger than Adel and Plush, it's not gonna happen. You're not gonna look like what you were before. Your kids are gonna be going to school less time. They're wanting kids put into these cohorts so that if anybody gets sick, they know who that kid has come in contact with. We've got the lists, and we want busing cohorts, we want classroom cohorts, we want lists of who that kid has been on the playground with, those kinds of things, and you have to manage those in a smaller, much smaller groupings, and they, it's gonna be different. It is. So,
Are they gonna get around this mandatory school educational hours by saying the kids are still being educated if they're home 2 days a week? And going to school every other day, kind of thing?
well, no, we're gonna have to tell the state that no, we're not meeting the 900-hour requirement, and that we'll have to write another plan, on how we're going to make that happen in following years. Because, luckily for Adele and Flush, I'm not going to have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But I know that the other 3 districts, I think in talking with Paul Howder up at Paisley, I think he has got small enough numbers of physical kids in his buildings. His building is pretty large. That I think he's going to be able to have kids there full time, just like normal. But definitely not North Lake, and definitely not Lakeview. It is going to look different. So, yeah, kids are going to get shortchanged on their education this year. I think it's going to be one of those things where, in talking with Gail this morning, we're talking about talking with teachers and explaining to them that you're going to have this kid in the school half of the time, and if that's the case, there will be no fluff. There's not going to be any meat and potatoes. You're going to be giving them only the meat. That's it. You're not going to do your rainforest great activity that you've done every year. Not going to happen. You are going to give them just hardcore curriculum. That's it. Because there won't be any way to fit anything else into the day.
Oh gosh, what a hurdle.
Yeah, it's a huge hurdle, and it's not going to make people very happy.
Jack, at some point, this coronavirus will start to recede down to almost nothing eventually. Are there plans of any kind when that happens as a state in Oregon? Do they just go right back to what it used to be, or is it a transition process, or?
Yes, that's phase 3. And the governor made a statement the other day in one of our meetings, or the Colt Gill did, I should say. It was his first statement, is that phase 3 will not happen until there is some type of vaccine or some type of cure for this disease. So they are looking at a minimum of 12 to 18 months before any county or any place in the state is allowed to go to stage 3. So that was the statement this week. Now, tomorrow it can change, who knows. But what we're looking at right now, as far as the distancing in the restaurants and all that kind of stuff, and it's probably going to be that way for the next 12 to 18 months, or until somebody comes up with a vaccine.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that the vaccine happens faster, because there's this is worldwide.
Yeah.
There is a whole lot of companies out there that they know that if they can come up with a vaccine, they are going to be making buku money, and there's a whole lot of executives who are going to retire very quickly. And so, very rich people. So there's a lot of people going at it right now trying to figure out how to cure this thing. But hopefully it happens more than 18 months down the road.
I wonder, because you do have a group that's very anti-vaccine, and some of our more standard vaccines, I wonder how that'll raise its head.
I mean, who knows? I mean, it may be one of those things where, they exclude those kids and say, no, this is a required vaccine. You can't go to public school unless you have it. I don't know.
The court system's going to be tied up for a really long time.
Well, there was a report
That's going
yesterday.
to hit the courts.
Yes.
There was a report yesterday that England's come out with a new cure, and they're going into the human trials today. So
Is it a cure, or is it the one where,
no, this one's supposed to be a cure.
really? Because they were talking about one that shows.
England has been the one that seems to be on the cutting edge of everything on that. Oxford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, they announced yesterday they had one, and it was going into trials today.
Wow.
So it might peter out just like other ones have, but it's supposed to be real promising.
Sure, people are working hard on it.
Oh, that's
Oh.
I mean, you're still probably looking at a year before you could be sure everyone got everything and
Live through the cure.
All right, 2021 budget.
Who knows?
Yeah, this is just a public statement or public area that, you know, if anybody has any additional questions or concerns or statements about the budget, this is your opportunity before it's adopted, so.
Okay, we'll just go if we don't know.
well,
All right,
classroom cleaning should be down.
okay, moving on. Approved 2021 board meeting calendar.
I move we approve it as presented.
I'll second.
And all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. And approve 2021 GASB 54 resolution.
I so move.
Second?
I'll second.
Got a second? All in favor, say aye.
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 Act Tech Solutions Tech Support Contract.
I make a motion that we approve the Act Tech Solutions Tech Support Contract.
A second?
Oh,
John seconds. All in favor, aye?
aye.
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 Adel clerk and principal contracts? Need a,
I move we approve both contracts as presented.
okay, and a second?
I'll second.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And the 2021 North Lake Fiscal Service Contract.
I'll make a motion that we approve the North Lake Fiscal Services Contract.
All right, then we need a motion to close the budget hearing.
Can we get a second?
Oh, this-
We gotta approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 I move that we close.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
approve the 2021 budget, amend, adopt, appropriate, impose, and categorize taxes.
I hate taxes. Yeah.
Yeah, and we all got them in that
Well, they
category.
didn't go up.
Nope.
I so move.
And a second?
I'll second.
Jan, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Well, let me change that comment. The tax rate
Didn't go up, yeah.
taxes might go.
Yeah, because they'll move up the property value and there goes the taxes. But that's my personal problem. But anyway.
Oh, no, I got that problem too.
Land for.
Organization meeting, Wednesday, July 1st, we already talked about that, so we'll see us here.
Did you hear anything from Clinton?
I did not.
Did not?
I called him today.